Hi there. Today, Maimonides enumerates the last 4 of his 14 stipulations of how to know what renders a mitzvah as one of the 613 and what does not. So, on to number 10. We cannot count the introduction of a mitzvah as its own separate mitzvah. So, for example, we are given specific instructions of what kind of flour to use in the showbread in the temple, what kind of oil to use. Those details are not their own separate mitzvah. Rather, the mitzvah itself is the showbread, right? Or is the lighting of the menorah, but not per se the details of how to make them. Number 11, you can't count the separate parts of a mitzvah as their own. As in, on the festival of Sukkot, we have a special mitzvah of making the blessing on the 4 species, right? We shake the 4 species. Now, each one of those is not its own mitzvah. The etrog is not its own mitzvah. The lulav is not its own mitzvah. The mitzvah is all 4 together, but each separate part is not counted as its own mitzvah. Number 12, if a mitzvah has several steps to it, those are not considered their own separate mitzvah. Rather, the end result. Classic example, the building of the Holy Temple. The mitzvah was build a home for God, a home where He can dwell on this earth. Now, in order to do that, we need to have the menorah, we need to have the altar, we need to have the ark, we need to have all the parts to it. Without those, the Holy Temple is nothing, right? So those steps of those separate parts that are necessary for the end result are not their own separate mitzvah. Rather, we need to be sure to incorporate it and get all those other steps done in order to get to that end result mitzvah, which is to build the Beit HaMikdash, to build the Holy Temple. Number 13, if there is a mitzvah that we do, that we need to do for quite a few days, like eat matzah for 8 days, right? Or sit in a sukkah, right, for 7 days. So they're not 7 separate mitzvahs or 8 separate mitzvahs. Rather, the mitzvah is eat matzah for 8 days. So yeah, every day that you're eating the matzah, you're fulfilling the mitzvah of eating the matzah. But the mitzvah is eat it for 8 days, right? Or the mitzvah is sit in a sukkah for 7 days. It's not 7 different mitzvahs every single day that you're sitting in the sukkah. And finally, number 14 is that the punishment for certain sins, transgressions, are not considered their own separate mitzvahs either. And we know that we are told that a Jewish court that judged harshly was considered, or judged harshly once in 70 years, was considered a very, very severe court. So we don't, these punishments are not something that was, done on a daily basis and something that we, endure a lot. Nevertheless, they are a part of the Torah. Nevertheless, they are part and considered mitzvahs in the Torah. So now that we finished our 14 rules, the 14 stipulations, we are ready to start with the very first mitzvah tomorrow. And I hope you'll be here.